The US is reportedly removing Patriot anti-missile systems and other military assets from Saudi Arabia as it winds down a military build-up that began as tensions with Iran flared up last year. This is all coming from the Wall Street Journal. Among the facilities affected will be Saudi oil installations. Remember, the US deployed more assets there after an attack on Saudi Aramco oil plants last September. Dozens of US military personnel will also be reassigned. Well, when asked about the report, President Donald Trump would not be drawn on specifics.
Well, I don't want to talk about it, but we're doing some things. We're making a lot of moves in the Middle East and elsewhere. We're doing a lot of things all over the world militarily. We've been taken advantage of all over the world, our military, and in the sense that and this has nothing to do with Saudi Arabia, this has to do with other countries, frankly, much more. We have the most powerful military in the world. We've spent $1.5 trillion since I've been here, more than that, $1.5 trillion on a military that we now have the strongest military we've ever had. We have the best equipment, the best missiles, planes, the best of everything. We're authorizing and just authorized ships, new ships being built. They're all being built in the United States. And their beauties is we have the best submarines in the world by far, and we have submarines being built. And we go around and protect other countries, and other countries don't respect us like they should. In some cases, they don't even like us. And those days are over. Those days are over. So things are moving. And I'm not putting Saudi on that thing, but we are doing certain things that will be positive for us, and I think very positive for them, too.
We've got Samuel Ramani with us now, Middle East analyst and regular contributor to The Washington Post and Foreign Policy. On Skype from Toronto today. Samuel, nice to have you with us again. The president there apparently not talking about it, but still obviously talking about how strong he perceives the US military to be. If there is a drawdown in Saudi Arabia, what's your read on it?
I think that the drawdown is largely related to the ongoing Saudi oil price war with Russia, which is indirectly related to U.S. shale gas. Over the past several weeks, there's been a lot of pressure, including from Republicans in Congress, who are usually pro-Saudi, on Trump to take stronger action against Saudi Arabia on this issue. Obviously, secondary factors could be the U.S. need to redeploy more resources towards the Asia-Pacific region as tensions escalate with China, and also the belief that Iran is on something of a back foot. Has position in Syria has receded due to Israeli airstrikes. Its paramilitary forces in Iraq begin to fracture, and also deals with the combined impact of COVID-19 and sanctions. But I would rate the oil price war as the primary factor, and tensions with China and the weakness of Iran as secondary and tertiary factors, respectively, in this new decision.
Does it speak to any fracture in the US-Saudi relationship? Obviously not a major one, but still.
Hey, yes, definitely. I think it does represent a realignment between the views of Congress and the White House on Saudi Arabia. So throughout 2018 and 2019, we saw a gradual increase in Congress members, both Democrats and Republicans, like Lindsey Graham in particular, criticizing the Saudi war in Yemen, which required Trump to use his presidential veto when Congress would normally be approving that. After the Khashoggi murder in October of 2018, we saw a further spike in discord with Saudi Arabia. But the White House continued to defend it. So now I think, even though Trump is not listing Saudi Arabia by name and saying it's like many other countries, this is a realignment between the White House and the executive and the legislative branches on Riyadh.
And I guess we also perhaps shouldn't read it as a complete cooling on the idea of any conflict in Iran because, well, Congress passed a bill which would have limited Donald Trump's ability to attack Iran, but he's gone and vetoed that anyway. So that still hangs over everything, it feels like.
Hey, definitely. I think that the Democrats certainly don't want any kind of military escalation with Iran because they're assuming that if Joe Biden were to win in November, they'd be able to reestablish a modified version of the JCPOA coming back into order. So they certainly have a clear interest in not wanting that to happen. I think that there is a grave risk of a confrontation with Iran still. I mean, remember, just as recently as a little over a month ago, there was the attack on British and American forces in Iraq that continued. Iran continues to make incursions into northern Yemen, which lead to missile strikes into Saudi Arabia, becoming a distinct possibility that could draw in U.S. forces. So Iraq and the Yemen-Saudi border remain potential areas of friction where the U.S. could be dragged in. So I think that Trump doesn't want his hands to be tied on military action with Iran, but at the same time, he wants to send a strong message that Saudi Arabia needs to comply on the oil issue, or protection might be restricted in the near future. It's a bit of a bargaining tool rather than a complete overhaul in strategy.
Samuel Ramani, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.